Right, so we learned about the drivers for invention, lone inventors and product champions, a little bit about intellectual property, and now we'll look at some of these different strategies. We learned about some strategies too, but we'll talk about the markets and like specifically intellectual property, a little bit more detail about intellectual property. Okay, so we'll head down and just a quick reminder about intellectual property. Here are these different strategies: the patents, the trademarks, and the copyrights. So patents are specifically about design details. Trademarks are these kind of symbols that can be used, and then a copyright is it's used as a symbol, but it's a specific type of law that's related to an artist's work. Okay, so just a reminder of those three kind of strategies to protect intellectual property. All right, those are mostly laws. And another quick overview. Just remember the trademark is about the symbol, word related to company or its product, and the copyright is that legal right granted to the creator, and it's normally for a limited time within a specific boundary. Okay, and then the patents refer most of the time to specific details of an actual invention. Okay, so last time, patents specifically about design, trademarks, and copywriting. So the next thing, this is something extra I want to talk about. So Creative Commons, actually, it's a way that people can share their ideas and work, as long as they're giving credit to the work that's being done. So sometimes you'll see this CC. Don't take notes on this, but it's just something that's good because it talks about how creativity is important rather than always having patents, but being able to get just as long as you have credit for that particular thing. Okay, so effective strategies. So if other ways that things that they can do, those are just kind of some definitions about copywriting and patents. But things that people can do is, yes, they can register, federal registration, national registration. They can use those trademarks. So this is about patents. They can also have individual controls about that idea, about that intellectual property. So sometimes there's like a confidentiality agreement, so you can't share with anyone what we're talking about. Non-disclosure, so you're also not allowed to disclose this information. So that's how they can do. The companies can do that individually. The other thing is, once these things get registered or any ideas happen, they quickly register them down as fast as possible. So that's what they can actually do in addition to these legal rights and things, other things they can do to protect intellectual property. So typically, the way this would work is if somebody had an idea, they'd come up with this idea and they would want to protect their invention. They do a quick patent search to make sure this idea doesn't exist, say, okay, it doesn't exist, file a patent, pay the money, get it registered, get it in there, and then they're going to start making some prototypes and they'll see if they can actually sell this product. Okay? But the thing is, it can take a lot of time and cost a lot of money for all of this, because right now there's so many other systems available that can get these products out a lot faster. So there are alternatives to be able to do this. And maybe some of the reasons why they might not want to do it is that this one about not wasting time and money. They just want to get it right out into the market. Also, maybe there's creative purposes. So like that Creative Commons, maybe they're just interested. They just get it out, share the idea, and have that out there. Okay. So a really good example is Kickstarter. So if we looked at one of these projects on Kickstarter, I think most of you know how it works, but I can back and I can invest and I can support this project. They were aiming for $20,000, but they've got $234,000, and that's because over here, if you see, you can pledge, you can get some of these little things, you can get all this stuff, and you can before it's even produced, before this product is even made, they've already got a market for it. So this is huge. This crowdfunding really changed the way that inventions worked, because you can get it out there and start making money fast. Ask me questions if you don't understand that, because it's super interesting, and it's really can be really successful. The other one is the Rubik's Cube. So with the Rubik's Cube, he actually never patented the Rubik's Cube. He just had this idea, knew the market wanted it, he got it out there and started making money. So that's the way that the Rubik's Cube worked. So those are two examples why they do not want to use intellectual property rights. Okay, so again, there's alternative strategies to actually make the product successful, because time is money. They don't want to waste time, so they want to get things out there as fast as possible. And they can use the market. Kickstarter is using that market. It's creating this market already. There's a market there. Well, they don't know. Maybe there's a market. So they put their project up here, and then before they know it, they've got 10 times the amount of money that they actually need. Okay? And then the other thing is there's actually this law that's for inventors. If you journal your ideas, you're actually, by law, it is your idea first. So if you register it, show it, say, hey, this is my idea, you put it up there, and there's some registry, then you can actually get credit for that. So here's just a little bit more detail about that, how it's important to not waste any time or money, just get it out there as fast as possible. Patents take too much time. So here's an example. This is of the law for inventors. So how an idea is, if it's journaled with a notebook or whatever it is, they can actually get it. There's a sketch that said, hey, I did this at this day, I had this idea, and then they make the product. So this was like the legal entity that says, hey, this guy had this idea before that thing came out, even if it's just a sketch. And then using that market, here's Kickstarter as an example. Okay. So another idea that's important is this is actually about being first to market. So a product that is the first thing is released on the market. So that's what's, it really changes how things work. It depends on financial profit, but just understand this term, first to market. So that's something you need to think about, okay? And the last little part is about patents that are shelved. So sometimes things don't work, and there's reasons why things don't work. So before the iPod, there was this thing that was called Zune, and Zune was an MP3 player just the same way, but it had really tough competition. The iPod was Steve Jobs, the way he presented it, and the Zune just ceased to exist, but it happened at the same time. So that's why product is shelved. Here's a list of 13 reasons why these products could be shelved, and there's actually some examples, but I think I want you to try to find 5 of your own and put them in the form. So take an image and see, like, for example, there's no market need for cherry chocolate Dr. Diet Pepper, so that's why that was shelved. There's some examples here, but I want you to try to find your own of why these things possibly could be shelved. Okay, here's a few other things about some failed products as well. Okay, so that is the end of this topic. And again, the focus of it was mostly ideas. I know this intellectual property can kind of drag on a little bit, and it's quite detailed, but it's important just to understand how to protect rights of an invention or an idea. Okay, questions if you need them, and make sure to fill out that form. Thanks for your time.